Hello sweet beans, my name is Soleil and welcome to the Little Reader's Corner. Today I'm doing a May TBR slash possibility pile for all of the readathons I am going to be participating in. There are 3 readathons I'm definitely participating throughout the month, and there are also just a couple of other books that I want to be reading, so I figured I might as well make a TBR for the entire month. The first readathon that I'll be participating in will be happening throughout the month of May, so it's already begun, and that is the Asian Readathon. It is hosted by Cindy from With Cindy, and it is all about reading books that are either written by Asian authors, have Asian protagonists, or are focused on Asian-centered stories. So for the first 2 prompts, which is read a book by an Asian author and read a book with an Asian protagonist, I'll be reading Hungry Hearts. This is a collection of short stories written by 13 different Asian authors, and it was edited and put together by Elsie Chapman and Carolyn Tung Richmond. So these are all stories of food and love, all centered on Hungry Hearts Row, I believe. Yes. I haven't read as many short story collections as I've wanted to. I've heard wonderful things about this. I love writing that involves food as well, and these stories center around a lot of different Asian perspectives, so I can't wait to read this one. The next prompt is read a book written by an Asian author in your favorite genre. So one of my favorite genres is contemporary romance, so I'm really excited to read a Fa love story. This is written by Lone Lee, and it looks super cute. I've already started it. This is the first book I'm reading for this month. I'm absolutely loving it. It's about 2 young adults whose parents own 2 rival pho businesses across the street from one another. They've had this rivalry between their families and between each other for years. They don't know where it stems from, but at some point they run into each other and they have to start interacting. So it sounds super cute. I love rivalry to love romances, so I'm very excited to get going into this one a little more. The next prompt is to read a nonfiction book written by an Asian author. So for this prompt, I'll be reading The Displaced: Refugee Writers on Refugee Lives. This is a collection of essays and short stories in response to former President Donald Trump's order against refugees in 2017. Viet Thanh Nguyen edits all of these together, but it is written by many other writers who also stem from refugees. And since this is also the career that I'm going to be going into, I thought it was a perfect match to read about refugee stories throughout this month. And then the last prompt is to read a book by an Asian author that is non-US centric. So I will be reading The Refugees, and this is a short story collection that is actually written by Viet Thanh Nguyen. All of these short stories are about refugees. They are fictional stories, but each of them of course holds a large kernel of truth. And of course the collection is written by Viet Thanh Nguyen. So these are the books that I will be reading this month for the Asian Readathon. I'm very excited and I really look forward to reading all of these. The next readathon that I will be participating in is the Peppathon. So this actually has already started by the time you're seeing this video. This video had to go up a little later than expected because of the moving situation. But I am currently participating in this when you are seeing this video. It goes from May 3rd to May 9th, and it is hosted by Deja's Book World, Let Me in the Library, Sarah's Shelves, and Haley Hughes. So there are 9 total prompts on the bingo board that you can complete. I will only be doing 3 prompts because that is as many as I can do. Each of the prompts are based on Peppa Pig memes, which I think is choice. So here are the books that I'll be reading for this. So for the historical fiction prompt, I'm reading Ariadne by Jennifer Saint. This just came out this week. It was also featured in Book of the Month, and I've been looking forward to reading this for a very long time. I also have a video going up in a couple of days that talks about all of the Greek, Roman, myth retellings and folklore inspired stories that I want to be reading over the next couple of months. That video comes out in a couple of days because it is a very, very long list of books, but this is one of those books on that list as well. This of course tells the story of Ariadne, who is the princess of Crete. Her brother is the Minotaur, and every year the Minotaur demands a blood sacrifice. And then when Theseus, the prince of Athens, comes to slay the Minotaur, then Ariadne sees that she actually has an option to escape the life that she knows and find a new one. I'm really excited about this one. I love myth retellings, especially more modern ones that are a little more feminist focused than the older ones are. So I can't wait to read this one. And then following that same line of thinking, for the prompt A Popular Book, I will be reading Circe by Madeline Miller. This is a very popular book on BookTube. It is a staple in the modern young adult myth retellings, so I'm really looking forward to reading it. It's basically a feminist retelling of Circe. She is cast out from the world of the gods into the world of the mortals. She ends up living and surviving on a deserted island, befriending the wild beasts, and also coming across a lot of famous figures from Greek mythology. I've been wanting to read this for a very long time. I'm really excited that it's happening, and I really hope it's as good as I want it to be. And the last prompt I will be participating in to get a straight across bingo is a fast-paced read. So it took me a while to decide on which one I'm doing for this, but I am actually going to be doing a 24-hour style readathon where I reread all of Saga in one day. It's going to be an emotional journey. And for the first book of Saga, I'll be using that to fulfill this prompt. If you haven't heard about Saga, it's a very popular graphic novel series. I believe there are currently 9 volumes out. I have read 8 of those 9 because I'm too terrified to finish the series while they are still working on the next one. I've heard the last one is very emotional and a lot goes down. It's a very adult graphic novel slash comic, so if you're under 18, you know, use your own discretion, I guess. It's about 2 people on rival sides of this war falling in love and having a baby together, and how they are able to survive when everyone is out to kill them. So a good time. Those are all the books I'll be reading for a Peppathon. When you see this video, Peppathon is almost over, but I assure you I'm having a good time. And the last readathon I am participating in is the DoTheThingAthon. This is hosted by Ashley from Frolic Through Fiction. It is going on the last week of May, so May 24th through the 30th. And it's basically focused on trying to complete those lofty reading goals that you set for yourself at the beginning of the year. I don't know about you, but I really need a readathon to focus on some of my goals. I didn't create very specific reading goals, but I would like to complete some fun new reading goals I've kind of set for myself since the beginning of the year. I also want to focus on some anticipated releases. So during this readathon, I will be attempting to read an hour per day, read every day of the week, and also to focus on reading some anticipated releases of mine, specifically the ones I mentioned in my 21 anticipated releases for 2021. I have begun reading some of those releases. I have read some of those releases. I believe I've loved every one that I've read so far, but there are still so many on that list that I just have not gotten to yet, and I still really want to read. So I'm going to be focusing on those books throughout this readathon, and I'm very excited. I love the idea of this readathon. I love how I can customize it to my own reading needs and my own reading goals, and I can't wait to see what everyone else is going to be reading for it. So that's everything I'm reading for all of the readathons I'm participating in. Can you tell I am currently unemployed searching for work? Maybe. Can you tell I just finished my bachelor's degree and no longer have to study? Maybe. But there are also some other books, movies, and TV shows that I am really looking forward to diving into this month, and I'm briefly going to mention those right now, specifically what I am currently reading and what else I'll be reading this month. So I'm currently reading The Duke and I by Julia Quinn. This is the first in the Bridgerton novel series. This is actually a buddy read between me and Bettina from Book Looks with B. She's an absolute peach of a human. If you have not seen her book looks, they are absolutely mind-boggling. She is so creative, and oh my goodness, go watch her channel, go look at all of her book looks because they are so wild. We have decided to buddy read, and we are both about halfway through. She's definitely much further than I am, but we're both really enjoying it. We're really comparing the book to the show, and I've heard some interesting controversial things happen towards the end of the book, so we'll see how that goes down. But right now, we're really enjoying the character development that we are seeing in the book and just enjoying the comparison between the book and the show. I'm doing another buddy read right now as well. It's the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, and I'm buddy reading this with Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe and Jade from Jaded Reader. We have started this a couple weeks ago, but we are really taking our time because all of us are reading a lot of other things right now, and we're all pretty busy. Olivia Savannah just finished reading 30 books in 30 days, so we are taking our sweet time reading this, but right now we are all pretty blown away by the world building. It's absolutely wild. It took me a while to get used to what the point of views are, because there is one point of view that is in the second person perspective, so it uses you to refer to the character that we're learning about. So that was a little confusing at first, but there are 2 other perspectives, I think. So there are a total of 3 perspectives, I think. We just discussed this the other day because I was getting all of the perspectives confused, and I thought 2 different perspectives were the same perspective, and it was a whole situation. So just know there are many perspectives when you go into this book. I won't be able to tell you what this book is about until I do a wrap-up for it, because I'm still getting my mind around everything that's going on, because it is such an expansive world. But currently it is just the most amazing writing I have possibly ever read in a high fantasy, and that's a lot. Now, there is one other book that I am definitely reading this month. I know you're already thinking, Soleil, you can barely read 5 books a month. Let's not even count how many books are on this list for this month. How are you going to do it? Well, I don't have anything better to do right now, so there you go. I will also be reading The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. I am so excited about this book. This is one of my most anticipated releases of the entire year. John Green started a podcast called The Anthropocene Reviewed a couple years ago. I have listened to every single episode. It is phenomenal. It's my favorite podcast of all time. I have cried in many of the episodes. It's basically taking personal narrative essay as well as in-depth research about certain things in the Anthropocene, so the human-centered experience on the planet, and doing 5-star reviews of them. So he does a 5-star review on this potato factory or potato research center that was in northwestern Russia, and then all of the potatoes expired and it was this whole thing. He also does one on fridges and on sunsets and the movie The Penguins of Madagascar, and it sounds absolutely bonkers, but if you listen to them, the way this man can just make you interested about things that you thought you would never care about is absolutely wild. And then he pulls in personal experience, and it's just amazing. So this book is a collection of a lot of the personal essays and things that he's written for the podcast, but also a lot of new ones. I am so excited. This is also, just so you know, vastly different from anything that John Green has written for young adults. So if you weren't interested in John Green's writing for young adults, I know some people aren't, which is totally fine, but you know, don't take a dump on his other work without knowing it. You know, just a thought. Maybe you could check this out, maybe you don't care, that's fine, you live your dreams. But that's everything I will be reading. I also am really looking forward to watching 2 TV shows. One of them I am already on season 2 of, even though I only started it like 2 days ago. And that is Kim's Convenience. This has been on my to watch list for a very long time, and then finally the other day I was like, let's go, let's just watch an episode, let's see where it goes. And then, you know, like 8 hours later, I got to season 2. Now I'm almost on season 3. It's fine. It is basically about this Korean family that runs this convenience store in, I think it's Toronto, Canada. It's basically just about their lives, and it's amazing. If you love a little bit more chill kind of sitcom type of comedy shows, this is absolutely it, and you need to watch it. It's fantastic. I love every single one of the characters. I watch it with almost every meal, and I'm really scared because I know that the 5th season, I think, is the last season that they did, because the 2 creators of the show have decided to move on to other projects. So I'm really scared to finish it, but it's absolutely amazing and I'm loving it so much right now. The other show that literally just came out and I've been meaning to watch for a couple months now is Mismatched. So this is actually the TV adaptation of When Dimple Met Rishi by Sanya Menon. I really loved that book. I ended up not liking one of her more recent publications, but I think that was just the subject matter of the book because I really loved the first one that she did. And now they've made it a TV adaptation. I haven't heard anyone talking about it. Maybe they didn't know that it came out. I know it first came out on Netflix India and now it's available on Netflix USA, so maybe that's why. But I'm so excited to watch this. It looks absolutely adorable. I'm so excited they made it a TV show and not just a movie. I think there are 10 episodes and I'm not sure if it's going to be an ongoing series or if it was more just a limited series, but it looks really cute and the characters look exactly how I imagined them, so I am so excited. Anyways, those are all the things that I'm going to be reading and watching this month. There's going to be a lot more added to this. I am weirdly sure that I'm going to be able to read all of these things because I have a plan and I currently have nothing better to do than go with the plan. So I'm thinking it's gonna go well, even if I end up just finishing all the TV shows before I get to the books. I have some high hopes. Please let me know if you are participating in these readathons, if you're participating in other readathons, if you're reading these books, and what else you're reading. Let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely day and you take care of yourself. Bye!